everybody. How is everybody? Hope you're having a good day. I'm back in Virginia. We just got back yesterday, and it's been a little while. This is a new computer, so I had some crazy computer stuff happen. But yeah, where are you guys coming from? That looks low. Let me come over here to console and check this. This seems... There we go. That should be better. Okay. So, how are you guys? How is everybody? Let me know in the comments where you are. Hey, Mr. Matt McFarlane is here. I'm in. Howdy, y'all. I like howdy, all. Howdy, y'all. Anyway, I got a freaking crazy guitar this week. It'll be here on Tuesday of next week. All over. So, if you're wondering, this is a Fender Custom Shop Jazzmaster. This is a Journeyman 1960 Jazzmaster with an anodized gold pickguard. Trying not to bonk it on anything. I really, really like this guitar. This guitar belongs to Terrence, my friend Terrence, who runs Guitar Bench magazine. And I think this one... He got too good of a deal, and a guy knows who I am for us to sell it, is the actual story. And so I think it's going to go over to Singapore, and it'll be with Terrence for a bit, and then he'll sell it. So anyway, Maximilian from Germany. So we got Scotland, we got Germany, we got Brazil. Holy cow. Fernando, hello. How are you, man? I'm glad you're here. Eric Mason. Eric. Dude, Eric emailed me along with like 170 other people saying that my channel got hacked. My channel didn't get hacked, but there are scam accounts that get made that just follow YouTubers. They imitate YouTubers. They comment on videos. They say that you've won stuff. So, Eric, was it you? Somebody said, hey, are you selling me a Les Paul Custom? And are you sending me a Les Paul Custom and I just have to pay... somebody said, like, do I just have to pay $140 shipping? It's like, nope. That's not me. Mr. Edward Sparks, how are you, buddy? Edward, I was thinking about you today. I was playing War of Man by Neil Young, and we've got such similar vibes in that. Dr. Gabriel Negron Asensio. Hello there. That was a lot of work to just say hi. But anyway, lots of people. Pennsylvania, you're up that away. And West Virginia is back behind me. Hartford, Wisconsin. Okay, you're way back that way from me. Sonia, can't stay today in upstate New York, apple picking. We'll watch the replay. That's awesome. Thank you. Jose from Santa Clarita, California. It's beautiful there. That's awesome, man. Yes, scammers everywhere. So yeah, I think it is definitely like it was coordinated. This lens is crazy because you can't see. My computer is like literally right there, but you can't see it. You can just see my keyboard. Anyway, but it's very close to me. It feels very far away. But I think we triggered it by doing an actual giveaway. And I think that's what kind of got everything was that I made a video called a giveaway. And then that's just like keywords for the scammers to jump in. So basically, we did do a giveaway. We gave away 3 of the Diodario tool kits, the repair kits. And this guitar is so good. What is that? I've had that. It's like some TV show. Is that Law and Order? in the criminal defense system. There's you guys see John Oliver on that? Anyway, I'll put this away and then I'll come right back. Also, I'm doing a thing I've never done. See this light up here? I'm doing like an actual gel. So this is like, I can show you. So on the front of the lens, you can put these like different colored screens, and they're called gels. But I have one on a light up there. So I don't know. Just figured I'd play around with something today. I bought that light forever ago. I also have a light straight above here to really kind of make it look like an investigation, interrogation. I don't know why. I just wanted to play around with stuff, do some new stuff. So yeah, the John Oliver on Law and Order, man. Shoish. Anyway, it was interesting. I don't agree with a lot of what John Oliver says, like the implications of what he's saying, but I love like the amount of research and data that goes into what they're doing. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to speaking of picking some apples, I'm going to go pick some apples. I think it's starting to really cool off. We left New Orleans yesterday and it was so hot in New Orleans. It was 99 degrees 2 days ago, which was unseasonably hot even for them. But then we jumped in the car. Even yesterday when we left at like 10 a.m., it was still like 93, 94. And then we got here, and today it's a high of like 62. I think it's been chilly each time I've gone out. Yeah, it's 66 out there now, and that's the highest it's going to get today. Anyway, Daniel, so, hey, Jeremy, I owe you and Nathan an email. Yeah, whatever. I don't believe, I'm kidding. So there is some really exciting stuff going on with Daniel, Daniel Nadeem. So I got the J35 from Nathan Wright, that round-shouldered maple guitar. Got that back. Got the Casino back to Daniel. And then Daniel is going to be doing a trade. A couple things. Number one, we're going to restore the L3, I think, Nathan Wright. So we've got to do some trips. So that's where we're trying to figure it out. So anyway, I'm going to go to Philly. We're going to go to the guitar show. And then I'll get a couple guitars from Nathan. From Daniel. I'll come back to Harrisonburg. And then over the holidays, I'm going to see family in Nashville. So on the way, I'll stop and I'll see Nathan Wright. And it'll be super fun. So, yeah. And so then he will restore the L3 and then the guitar coming back with me, which will eventually then go back to Philly. Basically, I'm just a very inefficient version of UPS in this deal, but is a J45 replica that I'm going to adore this guitar. I know it, that Nathan has built. It's going to go back to Daniel. So anyway, that's the roundabout thing that's happening. Maximilian says, last week I played a custom shop Strat master build and was disappointed. It just wasn't rocked in. Prefer my 80s JV 100 times more. Dude, that's awesome. How good is that? When you find a thing that's way more expensive than your thing, you're like, oh, I like the more affordable thing. That's like, I had a friend in college who, like, we were like kind of dabbling, getting into like scotch and bourbon and nice stuff. And somebody had a bottle of Oban 18-year Oban scotch. And my friend Bobby came in, took a sip of it, and it's like a $200 bottle of scotch. And then he took a shot of Wild Turkey. He's like, I know this one's better, but I like this one more. So that's a great thing, especially when you find something that you're into and you like it, especially when it's affordable. So that's awesome. I'm with you. For me, like, I prefer this pink paisley telly back here. I mean, I do have, I can go over here. I have basically the equivalent of a custom shop in my Rich Allen Blackguard. I mean, that is, not hyperbole, not exaggeration. That is the best. It is the best Blackguard I've ever played. And I still can't believe I own it. Like, that's crazy to me that I actually own that guitar. So, Jake says Jake Weber says your guitar build series is very enjoyable. I'm loving that. Wish I could build one too. I'm too old and too impatient. I don't think you're either. Steve is an incredible teacher. He's super kind. Also, he will offer to build the guitar with you for the same price. So that deal is not going to stay around forever, but he's done that for the last couple of years. So if you want to build one, you just have to schedule some time. I mean, you could do it. I think if you really boogied, you could do it in probably 2 weeks to build with him. And he's done that with people, or people can do a chunk of time and then they go away and then they come back. And so anyway, so Edward says, hope you can come by the Philly Guitar Show in November. It'd be great to meet you in person. I will be there. That's the plan. Daniel and I are kind of working out details, but I think I'll be there for one or 2 days. Probably Friday and Saturday, something like that. We'll figure it out. Joe, greetings from Mexico. Hey, buddy, how are you? Joe's another one that sent me an email that someone impersonating me or trying to pass off as me. Why did I turn that off? I need to change the mode. That's what I need to do. Okay. I'm using this mic, which worked great, so that I can... Okay, now I'm going to turn that channel off. But yeah, so anyway, Matt McFarland says, ever heard about the K300? Got one to restore today. That's exciting. That'll be super awesome. I did say I'll be at the Philly Guitar Show. So, do I want to keep my 1970 D18, or is that in the middle of the questionable build years? Do you like it? I mean, questionable build is still pretty relative. If you have it and you like it, I'd stick with it. If you don't like it, it's a pretty good time to move them. They're kind of worth more than they have been in a long time. How long have you had it? Yeah, I mean, D18s are incredibly likable. The only thing with those is that they could have, for me, the thing that kills them most is the rosewood bridge plate on the inside, is that just makes them sound pretty thumpy and uninspiring. Eric Homer, I just turned on the air conditioner that you put in here. Hey, never mind. Well, I'll tell you if you're here listening. And then there's like 55 other people hearing. But my iTunes, I just got a new computer. I was playing through my music. I transferred music from my old computer to my new computer. And one of the songs was yours. Is it different? Tonight is gonna be different. 100 times before. Anyway, there's one of Eric's songs. That's funny. Eric is an old friend from high school. We've been musician friends in the same town forever. And he installed the air conditioner, and they helped sponsor the video series when we turned this from a garage into a studio. And I'm super, super thankful for him. So, Eric, you found an FG 180 for $100 that I've been meaning to mention to you. I'll have to share the story with you sometime. Please do. I would love that. Yeah. I saw an FG 75 last night on the local Craigslist, and I figured that might be the one that I sold. I bought one. I mean, it's funny. It's still only selling for $100, but it's a great little guitar. I mean, sounds very much like a 0018, but $100. They're not $2,500. So Rory says, hey, Jeremy, hope you're well. Got a new guitar, an Atkin D37. I really recommend the Atkins. I've really enjoyed, I've played 3 of them enough to give a formal opinion, and I have really liked all 3. And I think that they bring some really cool boutique-y things to it. They're not, they don't relentlessly stick to the specs as they were. They kind of bring in some new kind of take and some new perspective on them. Oh, you've had it for 25 years? Do you like it? I mean, if you like a 25-year-old, if you've had a guitar for 25 years, you definitely could. You don't marry your guitars. You don't have to have them forever. I rarely have them that long. Bought a used for $700. Yeah. So even if you adjust that money, so what, 25 years ago, let's do this. Let's see. 25 years ago, it was 1997. So you said 900 USD to 2022. Okay. So the value of your money, okay, so $900 in 1997 converts to $1,660. So you're still only in at $1,600 adjusted for inflation. You could probably double your money. You can get around $2,500 if you're really. So, you know, you could have borrowed that guitar for 25 years. Anyway, that's exciting. Oh, $700. Let's convert that. Okay. So in $700 in 1997 would have been would adjusted to 2022 would be $1,291. So you're in that guitar exceptionally well. You could double your money really easily, even adjusted for inflation. Yeah, that's awesome. It still bounces around. I like it. So let's see what else. Your opinion, Acadian flatpick. Are you like Canadian Acadian or are you Louisiana Acadian? Over in the Atchafalaya Basin. Your opinion comparing an Eastman slope shoulder to a J45. I goodness, I can't talk. Already own a J45 standard, but still can look away from Eastman. Still can't look away from Eastman, I guess. I really, really, really liked the E10 SSV that I played that belonged to John Chapman on the live show a couple weeks ago. I actually texted him about that, like, how much, man? And he won't sell that one because it's a prototype. It's one of the first ones. And yeah. The thoughts on the new Super D. I might be getting one. I'm working with Sweetwater on some. I might trade some videos to get one of those. I don't know. I think it's crazy. And the first thing I think about with the Super D is Tenacious D. On their record cover, they played like oversized. They had like comically large guitars made, and that's what it reminds me of. So basically, I want to get that guitar and play every Tenacious D riff. I know. Evan says, "Sup, dude? Recently got an 85 Gibson J45. One of the first ones that went back to the original specs after the square shoulders. Sounds awesome. That's exciting. That's a pretty rare guitar." Elliot, I rarely have the heart to let go of guitars that were gifts. Dude, I totally get that. Yeah, I think, and that's part of, okay, so for me as a YouTuber, I can't treat many of them, like, I can treat some of them like gifts. Like, my Rich Allen was a gift because we became friends. My Boxwood, the square guitar, that one is a gift. Like, I can't get rid of those. But there are other guitars. Well, actually, now I think about it, this one over here was a gift. That my Rude Revelator. But then there are other guitars like this one. Like, this was not a gift. This was a transaction. So this guitar came from Fender when I was part of the launch in 2020 for the American Pro 2. And I've just kept this because it immediately felt nostalgic to me. Also, it's a better Strat than I would ever buy for myself. And I really like it. And it also marks like a really great, like I'm proud of where the YouTube channel has grown now. It is like still exceeded many of my expectations. The fact that I've been able to do this full time for 2 years and take care of my family doing it, and that brand would actually want to work with me. So that's why I've hung on to this one. But anyway, I'm with you. When a guitar is gifted to you, yeah, it feels like there's still some strings attached. So anyway, let me turn this off. And let's just do some announcements. So quick announcements. I have a bunch of guitars that are going up for sale. Oh, also, I don't think I'll be able to do this quickly. Maybe I will. Hang on one second. So what I'm going to do, let me see if I can do this as quickly as I can. So we are ordering some new t-shirts, and I should have put this in the description. Oh, I didn't, so sorry. But I'll do it now. And download. I wonder if this is going to be centered. It's going to be right over my face when I bring this in here. Okay. So we're going to do some t-shirts. The Guitars Make Us Better shirts. And yep. Oh, look at that. Here we go. Guys, I've done it. I did the dumb thing. And so this is what the shirt's going to look like. Guitars Make Us Better. So Guitars Make Us Better is the idea that, I mean, literally that. The Guitar Hunters fill the world with music and friendship, that we offer kindness, friendship, mercy, and just excitement about guitars into the world. And so I've wanted to come up with an idea of a shirt that's like very specialized into inviting people into the life that we've kind of found as guitar hunters. So anyway, if you go to jeremytheguitarhunter.com right now, jeremytheguitarhunter.com/shop, you can find those in the shop. We're only taking orders for another little bit. And then we'll do a first run, and that's going to be it until we get another 100 or so. So my goal is to get 100 of those. And so please have at it. Also, there's free shipping. Let me remember this. There's free shipping with the code FREE, FREE. You get free shipping. So it takes $5 off. And which it cost me basically $5. It cost me $4.49, $4.46 usually to send a t-shirt. And then it goes into a poly mailer that cost me about $1. And then it goes, and then I have to go drop it off. So anyway, it's fun that they're still delivered by me. So if you get them, it's literally me fulfilling them. So anyway, yeah. Oh yeah, you'd love it. You'd love it's super cool. It's all digital, as most magazines are these days. But anyway, Howard's here. Hey Howard. Hey buddy. So this week I bought a 1969 Martin D35 Brazilian rosewood. I bought it. I mean, I got it from a shop, but the shop was selling it for the estate of the original owner. So the original owner bought it in New Orleans in 1969. It's in really good shape. It does need a neck reset. Probably needs the bridge to be re-glued. But it's a very, very good looking guitar, and it sounds really good. It sounds way better than the 1970 D41 that I had. That was Sam's, which I wish it sounded better. I tried so hard for a year to get the thing to sound better, and I just couldn't get it. So anyway, but I found kind of as I was going through that this week, I was like, oh, there's a bunch of just like stuff that has become pretty intuitive to me, and just in my negotiating, that makes me kind of feel like, well, I know how to close a deal. I know how to help people feel happy and satisfied. So anyway, so this is some of today. Yeah, my words are like, usually I run about 10 words in front of my brain, maybe other way around. I'm thinking 10 seconds ahead of what I'm saying currently. And the other day I told that to Steve while we're building the guitar out at Showalter's, and he didn't mean it in a rude way, but it was a really funny and very honest thing. I said, I usually am thinking about 10 seconds ahead of what I'm saying. He's like, oh, that's why you don't finish your sentences. So it's true. Yeah. So that's where I was just like, anyway. So, all right. So let's get into it. And I went with a fun, kind of funky vibe today, which is, I went for kind of these 90s kind of funky, I don't know. Anyway, you'll see the branding and the vibe of this live show. So number one, know your stuff. If you're negotiating with someone, you just need to know what you're talking about. That's what gets people so out of. That's when people get offended, when you pretend like you know things, or when they know that you're wrong, or they know that you're bullshitting them or whatever. So when you're showing up, you got to know your stuff. So I'll kind of walk this through and give examples from my experience the last couple of days as I went and bought a guitar in New Orleans. I wasn't planning on it. I just went into a friend's shop and he had it. And you'll see the video. Patrons, the video is done. I just haven't had a chance to post it to patrons. It'll go out next week. But know your stuff. I mean, the big thing with knowing your stuff is knowing what you can't know. Like no one can know everything about guitars. And so the big thing for me is like, if you're shopping for something, or if you're like, know what you're into. So for me, I'm into Martins. And so with that, like I end up just reading books about Martin, and I end up tracking prices and knowing what things are worth, and knowing what features ended at what year and started at what year. And so just, it is super helpful to know your stuff. So another piece that is super helpful is when you make an offer, stick to it. So like, I think being decisive really helps when you're negotiating, because as you're playing this like kind of volley back and forth, these aren't in any particular order. I got super backed up on time, and oh boy, I'm realizing my mistake. Hang on, wait, these are out of order. Wait, hang on, forget that. I didn't tell you that. Why are these so out of order? Where's number 5? What did you do? Okay, anyway, here you go. be unoffendable. That's what I meant to go for. Number 2. So when you deal with people, I mean, I think the big thing is like, don't take things personally, and also cultivate a pretty strong sense of self. One example, well, not an example, but a guiding principle for me. And I'm sorry if I'm jumping over into, okay. So in the Christian and Jewish world, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Like those are the 2 things in which the whole law of how humans and God and the world are meant to interact. I think the problem is that you have to kind of reverse engineer that a bit. Like you can't be good to God and good to people if you don't love yourself. So you have to start at the back end of that and reverse engineer being someone that you admire, someone that you respect, being someone that you tell the truth to and that you're kind to, like when you're talking to yourself. And so I think from that, from being a grounded, centered person, you then get to back into, now I get to be really kind and generous to people because I know that if I can like me, I can like lots of people. So yeah, I think that I wasn't planning on that example, but that's just as my brain is running through this. But to be unoffendable, because people are going to say dumb things, they're going to say hurtful things, and saying hurtful things and meaning to hurt your feelings are very different, and almost never are people actually trying to offend you. Most people are just trying to feel better about themselves in those moments. So when they would say weird things or when they'd pick a guitar apart or whatever is going to happen. But so being unoffendable is a deeply powerful tool when you're negotiating guitars, cars, houses, whatever you're buying or selling. Just being able to be present and to be unoffendable, have a really firm understanding of who you are. And then to come into it, with that first point being like, if you know your stuff, if you are unoffendable, then it gives way into, and these are still a little wonky. Oh boy. How do these? It's weird when I upload these, sometimes they get put really out of order. So we missed number 5. I don't know what number 5 was. Let me find it. Sorry, I got a new computer and things are cattywampus. Okay. It's not even number 5. It's just number 5 on my internal side. So, be unoffendable. Listen more than you talk. This is one that I break every single day, and every single day when I'm laying in bed and I'm thinking about stuff, I still feel like I talk too much and I didn't listen enough. And I understand the painful irony of me being on a YouTube channel right now, streaming to several hundred people around the world, that I am talking and I'm not necessarily listening. Like I'm reading comments, but I understand it. But when I look back at video, like I have the weird perspective of being able to watch myself interact with people. And I understand observed behavior is not, observed behavior will always be different than unobserved behavior. So when I have a camera, it's still different. I'm different. The person is different. If you're really good, you can get pretty close. But I know for me, my brain is still continuing to run faster than I'm actually interacting with a person. And so I'm not super present. And I end up saying things like, oh, cool. Uh-huh. And then I jump in and tell a story. And I continually find myself as I watch videos, as I'm editing videos, I find myself cutting people off and telling stories, or I'm just producing and I'm not being present. I'm not being a friend, or, like, especially you'll see in my video with Randy. It's a problem. Randy is the guy who I bought the D35 from, but it bothers me. It really hurts my feelings. And it's one of those things where I hope all of us are kind of looking at our own lives and our own behaviors and continuing to try and be a better version of yourself. Cause that's what the world needs. Like, we don't need perfect people, but we need people who are trying. And so for me, as you build up this ability when you're dealing with people, when you're buying or selling guitars, that you listen more than you talk, you're unoffendable, you're present, you know what you're talking about. That's all super, super important. Some comments over here. Hey, Ritesh, I can tell you, I just got an email back right before the live show. So for the winners of the show, Sweetwater themselves doesn't ship outside of the U.S., but we can figure it out. I can ship it to you, and then Sweetwater can reimburse me for shipping. But anyway, we'll talk about it. George says, do you think a new acoustic guitar normally needs a setup? Yes. I think guitars are typically going to need 2 up to 4 setups, generally speaking, in the first 2 years of ownership. It's the real intense season swings. So if you buy a guitar in the summer, or if it's made in the summer and you get it that next winter, the action is going to come down. It's going to get buzzy. It's going to get uninspiring. Then you're going to have to set it up, take some tension off the truss rod, get the saddle back up. Then the next summer, the truss rod's going to loosen up, the wood's going to open up again, and then all of a sudden your action's going to shoot up real high, and you're just going to think, what the heck happened to this guitar? And it's just going to continue having the strength go up and down in humid and then dry season. So it's pretty normal. I mean, it's the same thing. It's interesting to me that people get really bent out of shape when they buy an expensive guitar and then they're surprised that there's maintenance, or they're surprised that it needs setups afterwards. Think about a car. The more money you spend on a car, particularly if you get a performance car, there is a higher level of maintenance and a higher level of precision. So with a more precisely built guitar, also comes narrower allowances for, it will get buzzy faster. It will get harder to play faster. But you can handle it and get a good shop. And that's why everybody needs to have a good, everybody needs to have a good repair person in their life. Cattywampus. Now there's a term you don't hear. Yeah. I feel like I grew up in a different time, with like my mom, grandma, and great grandma, all from West Virginia. And my grandma was like an Appalachian midwife. So she just always told us crazy stories. And that's how I kind of grew up. So, awareness and listening is something that I also am working on among other personal growth goals. That's good. We got to world doesn't need perfect people, but it needs people that'll try. And to at least own up to the things that, that's a really hard thing too. Receiving when someone says, like my wife, I had very little self-awareness until I got married. Yeah, that's true. And my wife, one of her incredible gifts to me is loving me and being patient to me and being able to help point out when we would leave having dinner with somebody or having people over or whatever. And we'd come out and she'd say like, hey, Jerry, you talked a lot. And did you notice that people stopped talking after a while because you would just jump in and tell stories and be the center of attention? And I was like, yeah, but they loved it. And then all of a sudden you think about it for a bit and you're like, so to receive it. So listen more than you talk. Make an offer and stick to it. Let's talk about this one. I've bounced around this one a good bit. Here is one of my favorite examples, and it works pretty much every time. Doesn't necessarily work as much with guitars, but just generally, like if you're in the hustle life. So one of my family members loves yard sales, and he told me that his strategy is when he finds something he wants at a yard sale, he thinks, what's the most I'd pay for that thing? And then he cuts that number in half, offers that, and if they say no, he walks away. And then here's the beautiful thing. There's nothing more powerful than showing someone your back. Like, I'm leaving. I'm putting this money back in my pocket. I'm headed for that door. I'm going to the truck. And I mean, you've got to anyway, so I'll keep track with it. So years ago, I wanted to buy a banjo at a yard sale. And I was like, oh, that's an old Vega Style 5. That's a cool banjo. And I didn't say how much they were asking for, but I was like, I would pay $180 for that. And so I was like, all right, cut that number in half, $90. And I came up and said, hey, I love this banjo. It needs a new head. It's got some work it needs, but I love fixing these up. That'd be a fun summer project. And they said, okay, well, what's the best you can do? And I said, I can do $90. And they're like, oh, sorry, we're asking $300. I was like, okay, sorry. I'll see you later. And I walked away, and I got about halfway across the yard. And all of a sudden the guy that was selling it ran up to me. He's like, hey, okay, you know a lot about it. You probably know what it's worth. So $90, you can have it. And That was good. That's a good one. Now with that, I still put a new head on it and spent a bunch of time setting it up, and then I sold it for like $250, I think. So didn't make a killing, but that's one of my tricks that I use regularly is like stick to like if you keep the onus or like the energy moving and you say like, hey, thanks. And then they walk away. That's the most powerful thing you can do. Next one is play up, play down. Now this one takes a little bit of explaining. This is mostly when I'm okay. Here's the perfect example. Okay. Let me drink my coffee so I stop moving this around. This was my actual plan, was to get through my coffee so I could drink my LaCroix. Okay, so play up, play down. How many of you grew up like where there's snow on the ground? Maybe this, I'm sure this kind of sneaky sibling behavior happens in all kinds of weather. But for me, I'm gonna move my desk down. I don't know why. Why am I feel wonky? I don't know what's happening. I have wider lens, the lights are different. I've been out of the state for forever. Anyway, okay, changing my mind. But okay, so snowballs. When you're a kid, there's one of the best sneaky tricks that any like 6 or 7-year-old realizes is you want someone's eyes not always on you, and you can distract people. You can get them to look at something. So here's the trick. You throw a snowball up in the air with your offhand. And so you throw the snowball up and they look at it. And when their eyes go up, you shoot the snowball. You throw it straight at them and you hit them. Now, I'm not saying like that should be how you negotiate all the time. But sometimes I want to take people's attention off of the thing that would actually bother them and put it onto something that they can see coming. Okay, that example does not work at all. Snowball up, snowball straight. But generally what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to play up the things that are no problem, easy breezy, don't worry about it, not a big deal. And I will play down the more dramatic things that actually detract value, could be an issue, whatever. I'm trying to track with what their oppositions would be, what the things they want to hear would be, not to manipulate them, but you're in a confrontation. Like, it is all confrontation, but confrontation doesn't mean hurt feelings always. So I play up the things that are pretty easy. So for example, I will play up, okay, so buying an old guitar, I will play up like, well, I know it's a pretty big deal that this thing doesn't have a hard case. It's not, it would be a lot cooler if it did have the original case, which in reality, it doesn't matter that much unless it's like a Martin blue, a blue molded case. But even then, those are expensive. But you can play up something that doesn't matter that much. And then I'll downplay the fact that, oh, well, yeah, somebody at some point played the tires off of this guitar. And so they wore they wore the finish through, and, the herringbone is kind of worn down on the arm. I will play down a thing that could actually detract from the value because I'm playing up the things that I want them to see. And then they start seeing like, okay, I like this guitar. So that's a strategy that I use pretty often. Play up the things that don't matter, play down the things that I don't want them to look at. I do that a lot with cars when I'm selling cars. Yeah. Yeah. I usually throw tires or brakes under. I'm like, yeah, of course. Of course. People drive it. That's the thing with driving. You wear down tires, you wear down brakes. And then I don't point out like, well, the clear coat on the top of the guitar or on the top of the car has, been worn through and it's probably going to need some paint work. Like I'll downplay that. So. Cones Guitars says, hey, Jeremy, not sure where you came from. Picked up my phone and here you are. I'm 71 now, starting to make acoustic electric guitars for 7 years. If you like or care, what do you think? I love guitars. So, yeah, send me an email, jeremy@jeremyshepherd.com. I'm pretty easy to find. But yeah, what do you guys think of the play up, play down? I'm going to keep moving. So other things, hold on. We did this one twice, but this title's more fun. Which title do you like more? Listen more than you talk. Proof more than you write is a good lesson for me. Money isn't everything. When you think about the factors that would make somebody want to buy or sell something, we can kind of keep playing this both ways. I haven't committed to either buying or selling. Let's say buying. What are the motivations that I can get? What are the motivations of someone that are trying to sell something to me? Number one, they need money, but it's not everything. Like, usually there are other factors. There's time at play that they probably don't want to spend a long time. They also want to remember. Usually there's some nostalgia or some memory tied to it, especially if they're selling a guitar that belonged to their parents, or something like that. What are other factors that you can think of? What are other incentives people might be kind of going through? So for me, money's not everything. So I'm realizing sometimes, like, I rarely meet somebody at the price that they're asking. This has been a big mistake for me in the past. Like, I've missed certain guitars because I drive too hard on the money. And I try to make up for it by compensating in all the other directions. So the other directions that I would do is I would then offer, I can be there this afternoon. I will be there with cash. I will, hey, if you have any pictures of your loved ones, that's one of the biggest ones, is you can honor the legend. Like, that's what they're kind of looking for. So for me, I keep a guitar strap from my friend Dane, and I've told this story a bunch of times. I think it's actually it might be over here. Where'd you go, Dane? Nope, it's not in here. It must be in the house. I think it's in the case for the telly. But people want to be remembered, and so that's one of the ways that you can bring the most value, is you can continue to honor someone's legacy. So anyway, that's one of the things. What are the other? Hey-oh, yeah. I love this hat. I love this shop. Both of the videos that we did together so far at the Acoustic Shop have done great. It's just so fun when you get people pulling in the same direction. And we just love many of the same guitars and have similar values behind that. So anyway, money is not everything, but if you're keeping up with all of the other things that are important to them, the legacy of their loved ones, the time that they need to sell this thing, the place that they need to sell it. So sometimes if it's kind of far from you, don't ask them to drive at all. Just say, hey, I'll meet you at the closest Starbucks, or I'll meet you at the closest store. Don't go to people's houses. Don't do it. Don't ever. Unless you know them, they know you. Tell people where you're going. That's a whole separate conversation about how to have a deal safely. But just keep in mind all the variables, and people will give you lots of information just as you're talking. I think that ties into one of the next ones coming up. Just be excited about people and guitars, and that will cover many mistakes. Like, that will make up for many mistakes that you make along the way. One of the strategies I have for negotiating, but it also works because it's just my personality. Remember people's names, remember the details they tell you. And there is nothing more ingratiating to someone than a well-placed joke calling back to a story they told you at the beginning of the conversation. A couple weeks ago, I was talking to somebody and I asked them, like, hey, if you could when you were a kid, did you want your name? Like, yeah, when you were a kid, did you want a different name than the one you have? And somebody was like, oh, I always wanted to be called Tracy because I thought Dick Tracy was so cool. And so later, as he left, 20 minutes later, after we just met this time, but we talked in a group of people for a long time. And at the end of it, I was like, Tracy, see you, buddy. And he like lit up. And so that's one of the things that you can do is like remember the details and just make a joke or like call back to show that you're listening. Another way to do this to really ingratiate people, or to ingratiate yourself to people, is to give a synopsis of what you've picked up in the conversation that you've had. Like, hey man, what I'm hearing from you is you don't want this guitar to go to a collector. You want this guitar to be played. Okay. and then you explain why, like, hey, I love guitars, I play guitars, I don't like I love guitars, I play guitars, I don't lock them away. I actually believe in hanging my guitars up and playing them, and I want my kids to learn how to play them. And so this guitar is going to be around people who love guitars, love music, and yeah, so you can rest easy knowing that that's how I'm going to handle it. So that's an easy big one for me, is to be excited about guitars and people. Remember details, remember facts, make callbacks. Stick the landing. Let's save this one. Oh yeah, that was supposed to go last, but they got out of order. Number 11, don't show your hand. Don't look at the guitar. Hey, can you read me the serial number real quick? I'm just going to go on Reverb real quick, and, I'll just, oh, yeah, sorry. I'm going to have to do $1,900. Don't give away your hand. Don't, you need to do your homework, or what's the one I used up front? Know your stuff. You need to know your stuff, and you need to not give that information away. Remember, negotiation is by nature somewhat confrontational. I think I could commit to that phrase. It is confrontation. It is transactional. That's what we should say. It is transactional. It is consequential. At the end of this, there will be you will have either transacted guitar for money, money for guitar. You're going to walk away with you've now lost time because this deal didn't work out. But the information that you're given along the way. So avoid using phrases like, I have wanted one of these for so long. Because when someone tells me that, I just think, okay, I'm not coming off my price at all. When someone says, what else? When someone says, yeah, I've wanted one of these for years. Oh, my wife gave me the go ahead. That means all right, you've already decided before you got here. Again, I'm not going to negotiate, because as you trade information, all of a sudden, okay, because here's one of the guiding principles. Don't give away information. Don't give away anything without getting something in return. That is not life advice. That is negotiating advice. You can give many of things away and get nothing in return, because generosity makes you a better person. But in the transaction, don't give information away, because people will use that against you in a court of negotiation, in between you. And that's where some people really enjoy the play of buying guitars and of just that process. And a lot of people don't. A lot of times I buy guitars from people that are visibly nervous. They're not interested. They feel apprehensive. And so it's my work to just make them feel comfortable, make them feel heard, and to just honor them and their loved ones, and to understand why they're in the spot that they're in. That's the biggest thing that kind of continually shows up, is that it is so much bigger than just the transaction of money. It's how they feel about it, because it is possible to get a ton of money and to still feel icky about the deal. You weren't heard. You were just, you were abused in the process of buying and selling guitars. So yeah. And last one, stick the landing. So that's where, by the time you kind of make your case for the person to sell you the guitar, or for you to sell the guitar, at some point you have to say enough is enough. You stop making concessions and you just say, we are approaching landing. If you're here, if not, I got to pull out. Pull up and avoid. Oh, there's a bug flying around. But yeah, that's kind of my last thought, is to stick the landing is people feel heard, they feel valued, they feel listened to, they are happy that they are leaving with a guitar instead of money, or they're happy that they're leaving with money instead of a guitar. It takes a lot of work to become good at this stuff. And I think for me, I fly by a lot of it just kind of by intuition. I know I've done it a lot. I enjoy doing it. But it also comes from some pretty firm beliefs about people and sanctity and dignity and respect, and just how I want people to feel when they leave buying a guitar or selling a guitar to me. So anyway, what do you guys think? Haven't seen any comments in a minute. Yeah. No comments in like 9 minutes. That's good. Had rapt attention. Make him an offer he can't refuse. John says, I keep my guitars close to 50% humidity all year round. Does this change the setup plan? Yeah, because guitars are releasing humidity from themselves. Like, even though tone woods are typically dried out, there are two components, and Steve has just been teaching me about this. There's two components that are drying out in guitars. Number one is water. Like, water comes out of guitars pretty quickly. The other one is resin or sap, and that takes much longer to dry out, cure, and then eventually constrict and rupture. And so that's the same thing as torrefaction, is you're able to synthetically do that. But yeah, I think, I don't know. I mean, just for me, I think it's like, if you're getting a guitar, it's best to set your expectations to, hey, this thing's going to freak out a couple times and it's going to, it's going to take a bit. No, well, I always say how I like something. That's not and you say that's a fail. But it's a foil. I thought you said a fail. So yeah, I don't, I think you just have to be careful what information you share. You can say, I love this guitar. Like, you can say, like, this guitar is beautiful. You can also compliment the person. Like, the things you like about the guitar, you could compliment them for. Like, whoa, you have a really sharp eye that you would have picked this guitar out. Or you can say, you've taken really good care of this guitar. Or if it's like selling for a loved one, that again kind of hits the legacy component of like, whoa, like your dad, I can tell that he loved this thing and took really good care of it. So Earl says, just joined, so I apologize if this is already stated, but a great skill is to know when to not negotiate. If it's listed for a great deal, just pay that price. Otherwise, somebody may scoop it out from underneath you. Yep, I've learned this one so painfully and so publicly over the last couple of years. There are a couple of deals that I I messed up and I couldn't just pay the price. Like, I missed a Music Master, like a 60s Music Master for $700, and I'm an idiot. And anyway, what do I think of the Martin DC Aura? I like it. It's a pretty guitar. I don't love cutaways. And I don't really care about, I don't love like the Fishman pickup system or just their, like, the philosophy or I don't like the proposition of how they make guitar sound right. They're kind of like Kemper. Like, they are modeling a thing that you love and an iconic thing, but I think acoustic guitars are different than that. Like, they are by themselves interpretive of the player. And so anyway, really cool guitars, great fit, great finish. But I don't love a cutaway, and I wouldn't do a Fishman pickup. I love the hollow, if they're still doing the hollow hexagon inlays. Those are really cool. But sorry. Mr. Patty Paystub says, I bought a Gibson Hummingbird last week. Not really a question, just super happy and wanted to share my joy. Dude, I'm excited for you. That's a great guitar. Tom Dill. Hey, buddy. Hey, I didn't text you back, I don't think, but your Gibson looks freaking awesome. Yeah. So Joshua says, yeah, I always like to compliment what they're selling early on. Yep, that's good. Such joy, Patty. Congrats, Patty. That's awesome. I love that. I love you guys interacting with each other too. Truth on that deal scoop. Lost an Eastman SB59V, a Les Paul, for like $950. I just didn't pull the trigger. 5 minutes later, I went and clicked, and it was gone. Yeah. No, don't do it. I love CD140s. I think they're a really fun guitar. So anyway, cool. Well, that's all I have for this week. One thing I really, I would love for you guys to, that's so dumb. Just because I was doing it quickly. And I don't mean for this to happen, but it looks cool. Does it look cool? Do I look cool? Am I cool? Someone tell me I'm cool. Okay, so guitars make us better. They really do. Please go buy one of these shirts. We're doing pre-orders now, and they will ship. Let's see, Paul, you got one, and a bunch of people. I think there are maybe 15 or 20 of them so far. I'd like to get a lot more, because these are one of the really practical, fun ways that you get a cool thing, and I get to pay my mortgage and take care of my family. And yeah, I mean, thankfully right now we've got a lot of momentum in guitars that most of the money that comes from this is going back into travel. Like it's going back into making cool things for you guys. So anyway, next week I might not have a live show because I'm going to go to IBMA, to the International Bluegrass Music Association, to the thing there. And so that'll be super fun. I've got some more stuff coming up from Sweetwater. We got some giveaways coming up, and got other giveaways coming. I think I've got some stuff from Orangewood. Yes, I've got a guitar coming from Orangewood next week. I'm getting my Martin D35, and yeah, everything is going well. But yeah, check out the shirts. I'm gonna get them here soon, and yeah. What about the Taylor AD27 American Dream? I had an AD17 and loved it. And yeah, so I think they're great guitars. I love the build. They sound great. And the mahogany, yeah, the mahogany sounds great as well. So big fan. You're cool. Thank you. You're too cool for school, brah. Howard says, my wife was a better negotiator. I called about a used Martin about 1,200 miles away, and she was in the background. She yelled with a price, and we heard his wife respond. The ladies negotiated the deal, and it was lower than I would have paid. That is funny. That's so funny. Yeah. Yeah, negotiating. I mean, it's the thing, you're going to do it in all aspects of your life. I mean, a lot of these things work if you're trying to get a new job, if you're trying to buy a house, I mean, the truth is we live in a consumer-based economy. And so, a lot of times, and we're moving to where lots of things remove negotiation, but you still find it in certain parts of life. And it is, yeah, I mean, it involves speech and being able to articulate the needs and desires of both parties. It demands empathy, but it also makes you be decisive. Like, you must make decisions and move quickly. So anyway, these are good skills. And yeah, this live show was a bit of just kind of off the cuff. Like, well, let's do something. Let's talk about negotiation. We haven't done that before. So hopefully it was helpful to you. If it is, make sure you hit, if you're subscribed to the channel, because there's still, I mean, even on the live shows, and I'm not, there's a big chunk of us that are here every week, but even on the live shows, there's still only, I think it's 55% of people are subscribed, which is good, but that also means that there's 45% of people that are new to the channel, which is great. So make sure you're subscribed. Think about it. Hit a thumbs up as well. That's super helpful for YouTube. And okay, here's my last question I'll answer. Angel says, do you think the Bourgeois Touchstone is better deal than Martin, made in the USA, standard or custom shop, both around 3 to 4K? The Touchstone is an absolute stunner. Like, it is a beautiful guitar. I'm gonna cut, so you'll see on the Acoustic Shop's web channel, they're gonna put out, they do a blind shootout. And so John is playing it over to my right, and then I'm sitting in the middle, and Jeremy's on the other side of me. And we're both kind of listening to it. And I would set up my own camera and microphone to kind of catch my perspective of it. And I'm going to give kind of an idea of what they're like. But after that was done, number one, I could not tell a difference. I actually thought the Touchstone sounded a little better, but they sounded incredibly similar. Because when you look at the Bourgeois Touchstone, basically what it is is all of the wood is picked out in, well, the top is picked out and voiced by Dana Bourgeois and their team in Maine. Then they are vacuum packed and sealed. They are sent to China, to the Eastman plant in Beijing. And then from there, they are put together in the same way that you would have a top tier, amazing hand-built guitar built, they are built to the complete specs of a Bourgeois. And it says Bourgeois on the headstock. The only place that it the only place that it would really tell you that it's made in China is on the label inside. But it's the same tone woods. Like it is, they are buying them actually from a wood distributor in Missouri. It's shocking. So it's a little more expensive than a D28. It's about the price of an HD28. And it really is like as close as you can get. It is as close as you can get apples to apples. You're getting an HD28 instead of a D28 for the same price. But one is made in China, but they both have the same finishes. One has a dovetail joint. I mean, they're very, very similar tit for tat. If you want a boutique guitar, it's unbelievable. Like it redefines what I thought an import acoustic guitar could be. I would have I want to email Bourgeois and Eastman and see if I can get one to show off because it's truly an unbelievable guitar. I'm curious on resale value. That's my only lingering question, but I think that I am not the norm. I'm not my audience. Like most of you guys buy guitars and keep them. I always seem to like, well, if I get itchy in a year or two, what can I sell it for? And I don't want to buy stuff if I can't make some money on it later. So, oh, thanks, John. Hey, I like that. I don't always agree with you, but I like you anyway. That's good. The world needs a lot more of that. We need to be, let's bring back disagreement, but decent. Disagree, but decent. Yeah, Tech says the AD22 sounds better than a 0015M, both new at the store, even better than the Martin 15M deep body. Cool. All right, guys. Well, go buy some t-shirts and make sure you're subscribed. Thanks, everybody. See you later. Bye.